Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today we are going to be doing another Mark's Driving and Chatting and Chitting and Chatting reviews video. This time it's going to be on 7 different mistakes that all first-time car buyers seem to make. This is obviously specifically for the guys that are car guys, but a couple of these can work for just your average everyday person that's just buying a car. Most of these are mistakes that we as car guys make as first-time buyers. We've all done it. It's happened to the best of us. Let's get right into it without wasting anybody's time with number 7. I gotta actually turn around real quick. But with number 7, oh perfect, this guy's telling me to slow down. Well, don't worry, pal, I'm pulling in here anyway. Anyway, number 7 is buying a salvage title car. Here's the thing. My 350Z is a salvage title car. Okay, I bought the 350Z for $5K a couple years ago. It was salvage title, had a couple issues, whatever. If I hadn't had my dad, who's a very good mechanic, he's been a mechanic his whole life, if I hadn't had him there to help me through the whole process of the 350Z, I still to this day would probably not have that 350Z running. And that was 2 years ago. As a first-time car guy, you think you know everything there is to know about cars. You think you could fix any problem. You think YouTube will help you and you'll figure it all out. And there's a chance that you can. On a lot of things, YouTube really can help you and you probably can figure it out. But you could get on a salvage title car, you have no idea what is wrong with it at that point. It is a horrible idea. On top of that, if you do manage to fix it, the car is now going to be A, cheaper in insurance, cheaper to register. I mean, more expensive. I keep messing up. More expensive for insurance, more expensive to register. Everything's going to be a little bit more expensive afterwards. As a new time car buyer, you don't want that. And things are going to continue to break. Because chances are that salvage title car was not fixed how it should have been fixed. And it's going to have more issues. So buying a salvage title car is absolutely, I still don't think it's a good idea for people that are experienced. Unless you can actually look at the car and you know why it's salvage title. That's the only way that I could possibly say, like, yeah, you should buy a salvage title car. But after my nightmare of a time I had with my 350Z, I would just recommend everybody to stay clear away from salvage title cars. They're just not worth it, man. They really aren't. Coming in at the number 6 spot, my bad, is thinking that just because the car is reliable, that you can get away with higher miles. Here's the thing, a lot of cars you can. A lot of people seem to think, my sister is one of them. My sister seems to think that once a car reaches 100,000 miles, it's done for. It's 100,000 miles and it's out the window. It's the most unreliable car on the road. You're going to be driving a Fred Flintstone's mobile to your gas stations and back. That's what a lot of people seem to think, that 100,000 miles is horrible. That is a little bit overkill. But I would say anywhere around 170 to 180,000 miles is questionable. Yet, some people, as a new time car buyer, see a Lexus IS300 with 200,000 miles on the clock for $2,000 and they think, oh, well, it's a Lexus, so it has a Toyota motor in it, so it's got to be reliable. 200,000 miles is nothing for that car. And that is true. It's very weird because on a Lexus, on a Toyota, on a Honda, stuff like that that have incredibly reliable motors, inline motors, not V motors, you can most of the time, yes, you can get away with 170,000 miles. However, it's a gamble on the previous owners. Did they take care of the car? Because every car needs to be taken care of. Whether it's a Toyota or a Bugatti, it needs to be taken care of. If it wasn't taken care of, 170,000 miles on a Toyota is 170,000 miles that have been neglected. It's just ready to go at that point. That's my friend. Hi, John. It's just ready to go at that point. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what kind of car it is. Neglect is going to kill it faster than mileage can. And so, as a first-time car buyer, you're not going to be able to tell whether or not a car has been neglected by the previous owners, and you're just going to see a good deal and buy it. Obviously, as an experienced person, you can go look at a car and you could pretty easily tell whether or not a car has been beat on its whole life. But as a new time car buyer, you really can't. And so I would recommend trying to stay as far away from high miles as you can. If you are going to buy a high miles car, yes, you probably should try to make it a Honda or a Toyota. Never buy a high mileage car that's like slammed on the ground, by the way, because that shows that the car buyer before you didn't care about the car. They were just beating on it. So if you are going to buy a high mileage car, make sure it's from an old person and it's relatively stock. It looks pretty clean for its age and all that stuff. But coming in at the number 5 spot is thinking that a modified car is a better option than just buying the stock car. It is not. It almost never is. I don't know how people don't see this yet, but buying a car that's been modified, been touched by somebody else, is a horrible idea. You are doing what's called picking up somebody else's project. They didn't want to deal with it anymore, so they're giving it to you now. How does that sound like a good idea? Now, there is a very slight, obviously, instances where this is okay, if you know the guy, if he's your friend and if you worked on the car before with him, and like you know everything about the car, what's wrong with it, what's not wrong with it, and whether or not the work has been done well or not. But chances are, let's be honest, you're probably going on Facebook Marketplace, seeing a slammed Miata with rep wheels on it, and you're like, oh yeah, that one looks cool, and it's already modified, so I can save money that way, so I'll just buy that one. No, man, listen. You're going to save yourself a lot of hassle, a lot of time, a lot of money if you were to just buy that same Miata with the same miles, same price, everything, except it doesn't have the mods on it. Because the mods themselves might have been done well, sure, but everything else that guy has done to that car, you have no idea. You can't tell what he's done. It could have been freaking a whole turbo on the car and you wouldn't even know unless you went to look at it, obviously. It could have been a motor swap and you wouldn't know. He could have swapped the cluster out and it has higher mileage than it says it does and you wouldn't know. Because all that modifying shows you is that the guy knows how to work on cars at least somewhat, and he's not afraid to touch his car. So chances are he's touched other parts on the car. So stay as far away from modified cars as you can, unless obviously there's a way for you to be able to tell that the car has been done either well or professionally by your friends, or you've been there while it's been worked on or something like that, and your friend's trying to sell you the car. That's the only way I would buy like a modified car. But besides that, just try to stick with as stock as possible. Next up is driving unregistered or uninsured. Obviously, if you're from different countries, this could be different. I don't know how other countries' laws work when it comes to motor vehicle insurance, but in America, if you want to drive a car on the road, it has to be registered and it has to be insured. That's the law. If you don't, you either get a ticket if you're lucky, or you get the car impounded and you get arrested if you're unlucky, which obviously is something that you don't want to do. Now, a lot of people seem to think that, oh, I could just slap the plates of a different car on it and drive around that way and I will just drive without getting pulled over. Buddy, I've been pulled over like 5 times in my life, okay? Not once was I planning on getting pulled over. You don't expect it to happen. It happens out of nowhere. You're not going to be able to tell. And if you get pulled over with fake plates on your car, that's even worse than if you were to just drive without plates on the car. Also, having the car uninsured or unregistered for a certain amount of time becomes a felony in some states. You could literally become a felon at the ripe age of 18 years old if you get caught without the car being registered or insured. It's not that hard. Go to, in some states, all you have to do, in Connecticut, I know this is how it is because I've done it before. In Connecticut, you literally don't even have to have the car pass emissions. It just has to go through emissions. If it fails, you can still get the car registered. Insuring a car is super easy. You just use zebra.com, not sponsored, but it's a good website for it. Go to zebra.com, put in all your information. They'll give you the cheapest quotes, and you'll find a very cheap quote for you. Whether you want full coverage or just liability is up to you, but still, you could get that full quote. And now the car's insured. That's how easy it is to insure the car. After that, you take the insurance, your title, your bill of sale, whatever else that you need, to the place that's going to register your car. A lot of people seem to think that you have to go to the DMV or some sort of facility like that. A lot of shops will register your car for you, and it takes way faster than if you were to sit in the line at the DMV. So I would recommend doing that. But either way, you can you go do that, and now your car's registered and insured. Yes, you have to pay money. Yes, it sucks. As a high schooler, you probably don't have that much money to spend on the car, and you probably want to just start modifying the car right away. But it's better than becoming a felon at the age of 18 and living the rest of your days with Bubba in a freaking prison cell, getting from the back all the time. You don't want that, buddy. So just get the car registered, get the car insured. You're not above the law, trust me. Next up is buying a high horsepower rear wheel drive car while you live in winter areas. I have a 350Z. I live in Connecticut. Winter happens here. I don't drive the 350Z during winter though, unless the roads I'm 100% sure are okay to drive on. it's just a bad idea. Like, I don't really know how much else I have to explain this to people. Obviously, you can do it. It can happen. People used to do it back in the day all the time. Our parents used to just be rear-wheel drive cars. There wasn't all-wheel drive, and there was barely any front-wheel drive. It was all rear-wheel. But that doesn't mean it's easy. Like, it's still going to be hard. And yes, you can do it, but I would personally try to bring down the risks as much as possible and stay as safe as possible. There's a scary statistic for you, and I don't mean to scare anybody here, but over 50% of new-time drivers crashed within the first year of driving. And if you're driving a rear-wheel drive car, all that does is bump that percentage up a little bit higher. And I would recommend just not doing that. The next thing is thinking that buying a cool car or a cool truck or cool whatever is gonna get you all the girlies. Dude, they don't care, okay? They do not care about your car. Be a good guy. That's all it is. Be fun. Have fun with girls. Talk to them. Be friends with them. Just socialize with them. Please, I've seen so many people that think like, oh, I know what'll do it. I know what'll make me the popular kid if I buy this cool car. And then they buy it and nobody cares that they bought it. And then they're like just depressed because now they don't know what to do to become popular. And it's like, first of all, you don't need to be popular. You just need to find a nice group of friends, have fun with them. But second, that's not it, man. That's not the way to win a girl's heart. And if it does win the girl's heart, she's probably not a good girl, okay? If the girl's just with you for your car, yeah, I would probably try and get a new one. But either way, guys, please, I mean, cool cars are cool. And you could be happy in a cool car. And I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't buy a cool car as your first car. It's definitely a plus. Like, I mean, I think girls would rather hop in a Ferrari than a freaking, I don't know, PT Cruiser. But at the end of the day, do not expect your car to be the reason why you get all the women. So, next up, and this is actually the last one. So, the last one is biting off more than you can chew when it comes to the car. This is the #1 cause. Everybody does this. Still to this day, people do it. Even when you're older, you do it. It really is very hard to accurately guess whether or not the car's problems that it has are going to be able to be fixed by you, or if there's more hidden problems. But the one thing is, as a new-time driver, I'm 100% positive you are not going to get it right. You're going to buy the car thinking it has this problem and this problem and thinking you can fix it, and it's going to have more problems than you know, and you're not going to be able to fix it. It's going to happen. Does it suck? Absolutely. But it's going to happen. The best way to try and like minimize this, I guess, would be to just buy a car that doesn't have any real problems with it. But then obviously you're going to be spending a little bit more money, and you probably aren't going to have enough money to do that. So sometimes you're going to have to take some risks, and it's kind of hard to stay away from this one. But as much as you can, try to buy a car with no problems. I know, I get it, as a first-time buyer, with the money that you're going to have and the cars that you're going to want, it's going to be pretty hard to buy a car with 0 problems. And that's still at least somewhat fun. Because let's face it, we all want to have a fun car. We don't want to buy a car that's freaking just boring and doesn't have any cool features on it. So, but yeah, those are all the tips that I would give to a new-time car buyer. Please listen to them, at least try to. Some of these are going to save you a lot of money. Some of them are going to save you a lot of time. Some of them are going to save you a lot of stress. But at the end of the day, they're all going to save you something, okay? And it's going to make your car buying experience 10 times better. There has been stories, I've never actually experienced it myself, but there's been stories of so many people that love cars as a teenager, or love cars as a younger kid, and then they finally get to the age where they can buy the sports car that they want. They buy it, it has so many problems, and it completely ruins the experience for them, and then they become not a car guy right after the first year of buying a car, because the car was way worse than they expected it to be. It wasn't all that they expected it to be. Whatever the problem was, they stopped liking cars because of it, and I just don't want that to happen. We need more car people. Electric cars are slowly starting to take over, and we can't have that happen. We need more gas guys. So try to just play it smart with your first purchase. It may not be the most fun car out there, okay? I had a PT Cruiser as my first car, but it was much better than stressing myself out every single day whether or not my car is going to run, or whether or not I'm going to be able to afford to pay for the fixes on it. And being able to go and hang out with my friends and have a social life was a lot better than being stressed out about my car at 18 years old. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know what other videos that you'd like to see down below in the comment section. I might be actually working on the Integra today with my friends. That's why I'm driving around. So hopefully another Integra video will be coming next week. If not today, then I'm just gonna do it. Hopefully, I'm going on a vacation over the weekend to Atlantic City, New Jersey, which I don't know if it's gonna be fun or not, but I hope it will. But during the week, next week, hopefully we'll do some sort of mod to the Integra, whether or not it be the big one that I'm thinking about doing or a smaller one that I'm probably gonna have to do myself, but we should be doing something. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.